Yo, Scripted Chilled. If you're not doing YouTube content, what are you doing with your life? For real. Do YouTube content. OBS got amazing updates. I wish I can show it, but I don't care to do that right now. Look up yourself, okay? We gonna talk about Metal Gear Rising, one of my favorite games on the PS3, and discover some secrets and stories we never heard about. Like, what could have been if the team at Platinum Games actually followed through with it? So without further ado, let's get busy with within the UK, within UK, how you say it. Shout out to him with this video. So let's get busy.
Many of my viewers have come to know and love Metal Gear Rising Revengeance for what it is today. But how many of you knew it was not always this way? Before it became the insane Platinum Games action game we all know, it was originally called Metal Gear Solid Rising, and this version was very different. And I appreciate that this has been done to death and I'm very late to the party, but I found out some additional stuff recently that I wanted to... That's what made me want to make this video.
You guys are so great!
This was meant to be the next console Metal Gear game after Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, hold up. It is a great game. When I saw this image back in the day, that's like what, 2010? 2011? Doesn't matter. Maybe maybe it was 09. Maybe I'm bugging. I don't know. But it was definitely years after MGS4. When we see this play test or this reveal. And I'm like, yeah, give me that. I want that. The goriness. It was so. It could have been like a DLC for MGS4, but to be its own spin-off, its own game years in the future, not the 4, I love this. Not bad at all.
Developed by Kojima Productions and published by Konami, and built around Raiden as the main character. Kojima was involved as executive producer, but he was not directing it. The original director was Mineshi Kimura, with Shigenobu Matsuyama as producer, before Yuji Kurakado later came in before the game was cancelled entirely.
Oof.
The game was first announced at Microsoft's E3
Cancelled for
2009
no
press
reason.
conference.
Or, no. If I remember correctly, it has something to do with the creative differences. Whether it had to be like a flat-out action game or a flat-out stealth game with like maybe potential ninja elements. But I don't remember how definitive it was, you know what I'm saying? It's so conflicting. The confliction of the vision of this game is very complicated to say the least. But we got what we got, and I'm not like sad at it at all. But I want to know what could have been. What really could have
had
been.
been teasing something with countdown websites, and at that time this was a
And mind you, if you guys confuse like the whole voice of like the creators I speak about, it's mainly because I want to like speed up the whole process of like watching the video itself. I think the original video was like 10 minutes, something minutes long, but I just want to like speed up the process. Even though the voice is like different, it getting it thought across effectively as possible. So there's that, and potential copyright things too.
really big deal because Metal Gear Solid 4 has been treated as this massive ending point for the series, so seeing Raiden suddenly return in his own game felt like a proper what the fuck, wait, what moment, right?
Yes.
The whole game was built around the mechanic
Oh,
called
not
Zandatsu,
surprised.
which basically means
Bro, what you mean? Look, when I seen writing in 4, I'm like, yo, give this man his own game. Give it his own game. Are you serious? After 2? When you did that bait straight for 2, not Konami, Kojima? You better believe that, yeah, we want a game for writing, dude. I love to play as a freaking robot kicking ass, taking names. All over the city, whatever, wherever I'm at. Doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense. You damn right I haven't when I heard this announcement, bro. You got no idea. None whatsoever.
and take. The cut part is obviously Raiden could slice enemies, objects, and parts of the environment with ridiculous precision, but the take part was also important. He was not just cutting things up for style, he could also get power from enemies, grab mission critical information, and recover useful components from whatever he sliced apart. And this is what made the original trailer so impressive. You had Raiden cutting through soldiers like butter,
Amazing.
through vehicles, pillars, using physics to like defeat his opponents, you know, cutting the pillars and everything collapse onto the enemies. You know, cutting watermelons with insane precision and even like huge parts of buildings, like something from Bleach, right? The idea was that you could decide exactly where your sword went. You could kill enemies, disable them,
Why are
cut
we
around
calling
them,
it
or
Bleach?
slice through the environment itself. Now, on paper, that sounds absolutely fucking insane. Like, I don't think any game to this day has done something like that. Maybe you get a few indie games here and there. I don't know. But especially for that generation of hardware, this is a PS3 and Xbox 360 targeted game. But for me, the more interesting part that I found out
I don't remember any indie games. that was doing its thing that with Metal Gear Rising was doing. If you want to include Fruit Ninja, that's it wasn't indie though. It wasn't as far as I remember. It wasn't indie. Maybe it was though. Eh, either or.
Recently is the story. The original Metal Gear Solid Rising was supposed to take place between Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Solid 4. So this was going to explain how Raiden went from the still human Jack we see in Sons of Liberty to the broken cyborg ninja we're meeting Guns of Patriots. And that feels like a missing Raiden game to me. Because in MGS4, Raiden just kind of appears as this completely changed person. He's much colder, almost barely human, right? And obviously something awful has happened to him between the games. And Rising was meant to kind of fill that gap. Now, according to details later shared by developers with Digino Gaming, the story was apparently going to be a 3-act tale of revenge and rescue. It would begin in 2011 with Raiden still not fully cybernetic, trying to save Olga Golukovich's child, Sonny, who was being held by a wealthy American financier named Wexler at Area 51. The Area 51 part sounds ridiculous, but this is also where it gets proper dark. Raiden would manage to save Sonny, but then Wexler would capture him. From there, the story apparently became extremely grim. Raiden would be mutilated, rebuilt, and later return in a black cybernetic body as Black Raiden. He would be drugged, manipulated, and forced into killing people while the game constantly reminded you that the people you were killing were actually the good guys. Specifically, what happened was that Raiden apparently had his jaw crushed by this Wexler guy, right? And that would kind of explain why the bottom part of his jaw is missing, right? Because in every game since 4, I think the bottom part of his jaw is kind of like a part of his cybernetic suit, right? And it's honestly a fucking cool concept from a Metal Gear game. At some point, there was meant to be a boss fight where a psychic Japanese character would appear to Raiden as Solid Snake, which apparently would have been Snake's only appearance in the game.
What?
After that, Raiden would slowly begin to regain his memories.
We would have had a snake, not any snake, Solid Snake, but it'll be a doppelganger, and the dude would just be manipulating Raiden's perception of what he's seeing with Snake. Yeah, that's a whew. Whew. That low-key would have slapped. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. But at the same time, that would slap regardless. So that'd be stupid. What is that? What is that? Come on now.
Eventually, Raiden would meet Dr. Madnar, who would build him a new white cybernetic suit. That white suit was meant to symbolize Raiden fighting for justice again. And it would lead directly into the version of Raiden we see in Metal Gear Solid 4, which is really awesome. Kind of nice way to tie the two games together. So yeah, it was definitely not just a random spin-off. This would have been like a canonical piece of material for the story, right? And a lot of people are upset with how Raiden was handled post MGS2, so hopefully this game would have given these people something to look forward to, right? Or some sort of clarity or an explanation.
Yeah, a little prequel
but
for Raiden.
then the development started falling
against
apart.
it.
The concept, yes, was amazing, but actually turning it into a real playable game was clearly much harder than Koji Pro 4. Behind the scenes, the game apparently did not run well, with the page mentioning claims that it was running at around 10 frames per second, and that the team did not have the tools or programming experience to fully raise the concept at the time.
Let me give you perspective of 10 frames. Between like that and like a regular 30 frames. 30 frames is like the definitive standard, to say the least. Something like at the bare minimum. 60 frames is like beautiful. 10 frames? Look, this is 60 frames. Based on fingers. Look, this is 60 frames. This is 30 frames. And this is 10 frames. You get what I'm saying? You see what I mean? The bill would have been ass. This would have been terrible, bro. God damn, dude.
The famous E3 2010 trailer was reportedly pre-rendered, which makes sense when you look at how ambitious the cutting system was, right? The parts that did look like gameplay
Very ambitious.
were most likely, pre-rendered.
It cut the bowling
it
balls.
still looks like in-engine footage, right? From Fox Engine. The original Rising looked incredible, but it seems like it was more of an amazing idea than a complete game. The team had the trailer, and they had the cutting mechanic, and the whole story was finished, and they reportedly even had the script, boss ideas, and level designs all done. And eventually Kojima decided the project was not going to be completed in its original form, and by early 2011 development was handed over to Platinum Games. And that is where Metal Gear Solid Rising became Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Platinum did not simply finish the old game, they basically rebuilt it into something faster, cleaner, and much more focused as an action game.
Faster and cleaner.
Whole hack and slash thing.
Basically Platinum back in the day.
Interestingly, some mechanics survived. You know, Zandatsu survived, and he survived.
My guy, he left the coffin, bro. I don't know if it's jokes or whatever, but it seems authentic. It seemed really authentic. I don't see the point of that, bro. But hey, Is it the stuff? It's just stuff, man.
Awesome!
Cough it off, man.
Enemy ideas like the Mastiff were carried over, but the actual story was completely different.
Cough it off.
Instead of being set between MGS2 and MGS4, Revengeance was moved to the after MGS4,
See,
which gave
I'm not
Platinum a
gonna
lot more
edit this
freedom
out,
of what they
man.
were going to do. They were no longer
I'm a big boy.
they no longer had to carefully explain how Raiden became a cyborg. They could just
Big
start
man.
with a cyborg Raiden and go completely fucking
Top
nuts.
heavy.
And completely fucking nuts they did go. So yeah. And that's what makes the original Rising to me so fascinating. Because on one hand, I love Revengeance, it is fast, you know, very replayable and super memorable. And it somehow became
is.
a cult.
But it made me think, who actually owned the rights to this game? Well, one might say it will be Konami, but Platinum Games did put a lot of work in this game, so it makes sense to be them. But then again, it's a collaboration. You could say it was both of them, but I don't remember the sales numbers for this game. It came out, mind you, came out almost at the tail end of the PS3 lifespan, and the PS4 about to be revealed, right? And at this point, people want a sequel, but at that time, even along the way, like Kojima was already out of the building at that point. Konami kicked his ass out to the curve, and I do, as someone who like Kojima games, I have my gripes with Kojima the person, considering the fact that he's low key an asshole and low key narcissistic in his views of himself and what he do with his games. I mean, his games though, but you can't say hey, he's not narcissistic before he doing this stuff, bro. It's insane to me. You don't think he's narcissistic, bro. But honestly, if you don't think no Kojima is not narcissistic, bro, you're bugging. Yes, I'm serious. But overall, his game is still it's still some killer stuff, man. Then again, his older game is like pretty suspect, pretty pervy. They're like, yo, Kojima, you gotta chill, man. You bugging. But overall, the only thing we get from this writing right here, we get from our boy writing, is just basically the fact that he was shown in Metal Gear. Oh my gosh, what do you call that thing again? 5. I won't call it not Phantom Pain. It was something else. It was freaking It was that opener, you know. Oh, Ground Zeroes. It was Ground Zeroes. It was Ground Zeroes. It was. I like that game, but damn. I think we see him again in Phantom Pain. I gotta check that game out. I haven't finished that game myself. Oh my god, there's so many games I want to play from MGS. It just takes a lot of time, bro. The stealth section is like pretty basic. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Not that like it's groundbreaking, but it's pretty much it. But the only thing I have a problem with when it comes to like people making these pixelated inspirations when it comes to the PS3 era thing. I'll go back to the video for a second, but a little tirade. With all these RE1, 2, 3 inspirations, we're not getting that much inspiration when it comes to the engine of Kojima style MGS games. And I think building a stealth system, a stealth system mechanic, whatever you call it, could be harder because you have to increase the difficulty based on the intelligence of the AI, whether it's able to detect the player or not. And I don't think many indie guys do stealth well compared to any other AAA games like back then. So if you're just not surprised why I don't see that many stealth indie games out here, that's probably why. I think so. But I don't think it's a bad. I don't think it's a bad thing. Is I think save more time on their part than try to like replicate MGS. You know. At least that's what I think.
Classic in the later years because of the memes and the music and just how unapologetically insane it is. But on the other hand, the original, it seemed a lot more slower and a lot more concise and a lot more physics based, which would have been cool. I always kind of saw it as Metal Gear Solid 4, but you play as Raiden and you don't sneak as much. But would it have been better than
DLC.
Revengeance? I honestly do not know. Very difficult for me to say. It might have been a better Metal Gear
Cutting
story,
guys up
but
like
maybe not a better
hamburger.
game because that is a trade-off here, right? We lost what might have been one of the darkest, most interesting stories in the series, but in return, we got one of the most memorable action games of its generation. You know, this game shares a fan base. You know, it's not just Metal Gear fans that play Rising Revengeance. You've got DMC fans and a whole bunch of other people from other franchises that kind of came in and enjoyed the game as well. So, yeah, Rising is kind of like a lost ghost game, right?
It's still favored to this day, but people might say it's worse gameplay wise than DMC Devil May Cry, which I think they're a bug game. But then again, is anyone's perspective how you visualize like good combat? Is it good combat? You're gonna cut almost whatever you want, wherever you want in Revengeance, or to attack particular monsters in DMC Devil May Cry when they're color coded. Even though you have like a stronger weapon, you have to match the color. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. Whether it's good gameplay design or not, I think it's pretty mid. It's pretty damn mid. I can tell you that straight up. I'm never gonna play that game. Period. DMC Devil May Cry, booty cheeks. Will I call it a bad action game? No. A bad DMC game? Yeah, I would.
And if Konami would do a Rising Revengeance 2, I kind of wish they would go back to this story and explain things a little bit. It would be fucking cool to see how
As
this
a
unfolds. So if anyone at Konami is listening,
what a prequel, sequel, prequel sequel, which I'm not against. Then again, I'll say it had to connect to the ending of Raiden at the end of Revengeance. And that solidifies the reason why he decided to take the things he did now. They could use this concept, but I say if you're gonna bring a sequel prequel, then it could be a mix of the two. Of Raiden just being a human, then going fast back to the present, and fast back to the past and to the present, back and forward, blah blah blah. They could do that. It could be all in Raiden's head, and the fact that he just remembers things from his perspective or what he knows. But it would be a crazy thing, like see how Raiden is, bro. But then again, if Konami cares to do that, which we all know Konami care about the pachinko machines, baby. I can't blame them, man. They bring in the money. They bring in the dough. It just does.
please do something with this franchise. Maybe give us a Rising Revengeance 2. Get Platinum to do it. Like, please, for the love of God, just do something with these games, right? If Silent Hill F to Pay Respects can come out and get new games and fucking Silent Hill Townfall, whatever, why can't we get a new game? Konami, why can't we? And I know this can work without Kojima. I know there's a way to make it work. Like, so please, yeah, do something about it, alright? So yeah, not the worst trade-off. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, throw us a like and a subscription. That really helps out the channel. And yeah, peace out. Thanks.
Yeah, people, man, people, subscribe to the channel, like them up, like them up. That dude is goat. He goated with this video. But it goes to show that nothing is guaranteed in life. And you really think Konami cares about MGS? And much of the fans do, you'd be wrong. Hence why they have that remake for 3. But I guarantee you, if they truly want to prove the masses, if Konami truly want to prove that they can make all future MGS games without Kojima, then I recommend them do a full-on, grounded remake or remaster, you want to call it, of MGS, no, not MGS, MG1, MG2. Yes, I'm talking about the NES games, the computer games that Kojima made back in the day. The little computer stuff, pixelated stuff, make that to be a remake. Bring in content in there, stories that are relevant to Phantom Pain, MGS 3, things that even lead to 2, MGS 1 and MGS 1 and 2. Especially yeah, Twin Snakes. That's important. Might as well, right? Bang bang boom. MGS is back. You don't need Kojima. But then again, the charm of Kojima being weird and goofy with the whole little codex calls and Easter eggs. It gonna be, you know, Might be president, might not be. Then again, Coach, gosh, yeah, I think it could be a hard. It could be hard, man, because you see the essence of Metal Gear is Kojima in there. Yeah, I understand why people say, "Oh, well, Kojima is not MGS; it's just an MGS without Kojima." Then they're right about that, man. So they're gonna like use the products of Kojima and just wing it as much as possible, and it's rough, man. It's rough. But you gotta give respect to Kojima for the stuff he gave us this all these years, man. Because without Kojima, man, it was it is. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do a round of applause, man. You know he's a douchebag, low key. But yeah, if you like the content, like, comment, subscribe. More content coming the way. I like to react to more of this guy's stuff, man. He be spitting, dude. Within UK, I like to see more of his stuff. So y'all be safe, be easy, and be chilled, man. I don't hate MGS. I don't like the creator like that much of a person. You know what I'm saying? It's not about Kojima, man. But Kojima did his thing. I don't. I kind of wish people do more stealth games, but I don't think it's that popular. It what it is.